Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game! Oi, why did I not save scum more often during my first run? Had I reloaded my save after making Dusty Borgulak uneasy, I would have had the key to this whole mystery. Quite literally. This key we got from Dusty unlocked the evidence room at the police HQ, where we discovered that someone was into the space fish venom. I don't know why space fish is so hard to say, but I have my suspicion that this was used to poison Dex Beeglor, and then whoever it was that took this venom, quote-unquote, lost the key, so nobody would find evidence of evidence tampering. So now I have to figure out who had the key before Dusty, because I don't think Dusty's the murderer. She just happened to run over Beeglor after the fact. By the way, I reloaded an earlier save to retrieve the Sparkety Doodad while being interviewed by Pippi Freem, because it's getting close to Thursday, and I want to make sure that I get the Sparkety Doodad installed today, just in case I can't do it tomorrow. I also unstole the gavel from the judge, because it's entirely possible sentences can't be passed if the judge doesn't have it. I mean, maybe the game was joking about that, but why take chances? Speaking of City Hall, I'm kind of curious about something. What happens if we go to the mayor's office while he's out and embezzle the city funds? I could tamper with the mayor's paperwork and steal some city funds, but is that ethical? Embezzle some cash. Taxes pay my wages anyway. This is just like a performance bonus. Whoop. I was button mashing to get to the options, and then the options popped up when I pressed the button. Give me more embezzlement. I need more than 75. Oh. If I embezzle any more today, then people might get suspicious. Never mind then. Let's go ahead and... I'm also curious if at this point we already have a response from Clorbeck III. And... well, let's see if he responded. I'm gonna say yes. To Sergeant Squidley from Highness Clorbeck III, final steps. Hello, most gracious Squidley. I am writing to tell you that I am now in the spaceport of the planet that you live on with the cash. I wish to make my way to your home, but unfortunately I have asked many taxis and none will take payment in Titan money. I also do not know where the local bank is so that I may exchange my currency into local money. It shames me to... It shames me to ask for help once again, but can you please send me the sum of $1,000 so that I may pay a taxi driver? As always, I will pay the money back when I see you very soonest. Your humble servant, Clorbeck III Highness. He's so close. He just needs a little more cash. But I just don't have that kind of cash. Am I playing this game wrong? Should I already have that much money? Because I feel like I should have a lot more money by this point. I mean, heck, I almost started New Game Plus with even less money than the game started me with. Should I be busking for tips a bunch? Should I be gambling? Should I be selling Lieutenant Beeglor's kidneys? Because all of that takes time, and I am trying to solve this mystery before time runs out and I have to do it all over again. Granted, this clawback situation is optional, I can probably beat the game with minimal cash, but I'm really curious. If getting clawback's money is this difficult, it's gotta have some pretty good payoff. One way or another, I want to find out what happens if we complete this quest. If that's the final step, then that probably means that I don't necessarily have to succeed at it today, so maybe I'll have the money in a couple of days. Now, back to the task at hand. I have a lead. We have this space fish venom, and I need to find out who it was that sampled it. I think it's Officer Gorb, and I need to find a way into her apartment when she's not around. Either that or gain her trust enough to be able to search around her apartment while she's there. Or option 3, figure out where it is that I can increase my strength so that I can bust down her door and search around her apartment unlawfully. Though Dex Beeglor lost his case on a technicality, I wouldn't want to lose this case because I unlawfully broke into her apartment. So, for the sake of doing this the correct way, possibly, it is high time to finally try out this Flinter service. I like Dusty Borgulak's photo there. Mrs. Mom? Mrs. Mom. That is what she is putting her name in. Yeah, these are usernames I'm seeing here. How many characters do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Potentially 9 people that we could date. We know the chief is one of them. And I'm pretty sure there was someone else we met on the first run who was added to this list. Not that I really care about them. I've been ignoring Flinter up to this point because it didn't seem important enough for the quest. My only interest was trying to get Squidley and Mona back together. Officer Gorb is not on here yet. Alright. Never mind on that. Oh, I just noticed the information for Squidley. Squidlord 68. Age, just a number. Height, sexy. Location, don't have premium. Message, please. Huh. Okay, so I think we actually need to be able to visit Officer Gorb at her apartment in the morning to get her on Flinter. So I'm gonna make it a task to do that. And I'm gonna reload my save, because I'm not actually gonna be embezzling the city funds, and of course I wasted a lot of time coming up to Squidley's desk. But before I reload my save, there is a big red button that I have been ignoring up to this point. How does this work? Okay, well, we know this ain't gonna work, but let's do this. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So that big red button is basically a button to end the game automatically. It is odd that there is such a button because you could just wait until the end of the week to make the accusation. Or you could just go up to the chief's office to tell him. Granted, he's not always around, so maybe this option would be useful during the night. Also, this is the other scene in the game that has different music. Okay, so it doesn't actually end the game automatically. Well, now I'm definitely gonna reload my save. Because we don't need Officer Gorb finding out about that. Also, as I said, quite a waste of time. Alright. Next on my to-do list, I want to find out if I'm able to send Beeglor's body to the morgue without talking to Dr. Septique. Interesting that searching the dumpster is still highlighted as something I could investigate. Just to double check, through my reloaded save, I do have the coffee cup, right? Also, it is hold on a sec. Let's back up a bit. Go back into the crime scene. It throws me off that the bottom option is not for backtracking, but for going in a different direction to the underworld entrance. I need to remember that I have to go one more option up to get back to the entrance of the ganglands. Yep, I have the coffee cup, so I just happen to be able to investigate the dumpster a bunch. Well, out of curiosity, does anything get accomplished if I do that again? Nope. Alright, reloading my save to save time. Oh, gosh dang it. So what happens if we examine the body while we are here, by the way? He's dead and looks pretty beat up, but these don't look like injuries from a fight. It's almost like his limbs have been crushed somehow. Well, that's not really useful information right now. I can probably learn that by going to the morgue after I send his body there. So we need to talk to Officer Sarlap in order to send Beeglor's body away. Before I do, though, I was looking over my notes, and I found out there's one piece of information from my first run that I haven't acquired yet about Officer Sarlap, and that was that Sarlap has no time for friends. Which option would possibly get us that piece of information? Not that it's important, but well, the fact that I missed something kind of bothers me. Not really sure, but out of curiosity, guess a theory, please. Aw, come on, just take a guess. Very well, it is my duty to obey a superior officer, but I do this under protest. This is a dangerous area with a statistically high rate of violent crime. Lieutenant Beeglor was known to have several enemies in the criminal community, particularly Big Mama Zod's crime syndicate, which is believed to be based in this district. Now that wasn't hard, was it? I have brought shame to my uniform. Do I care whether Officer Sarlap has become uneasy? I mean, doing that was a waste of time, so I'm gonna reload my save anyway. But let's go ahead and get this body out of here. We can't just leave Beeglor lying in a dumpster for 3 days. Certainly, sir. Where should we send him? We can't actually choose to send him to the morgue yet. Alright, experiment time. Let's go to the morgue and find out whether we can send the body there after talking with Septique. Eventually, I'm gonna find my way out of here and head to the morgue to talk to Dr. Septique. Okay, just met him, talk with him, tell me a morbid tale. Which is gonna be a different tale. How How about the story of Millie Mortimer, the Mad Maiden of Mars? Why not? I love alliteration. Millie was a normal child in most respects, but she boasted the fiercest temper anyone has seen. Even the slightest inconvenience would send her into a violent rage. Her teachers feared her, as did her parents. The entire community lived in her shadow. Well, one summer's day, Millie was walking to school. She wore sandals, as was the style. She was in quite a hurry, as she was on her way to confront the local baker about an under-raisined muffin. Well, Millie wasn't looking where she was going and stubbed her toe against a paving slab. Hard. She cursed and screamed. How dare an inanimate block of concrete assault her so? But the paving slab, being but a regular paving slab, did not reply. So Millie upped her game. She kicked the slab and punched it. But paving slabs lack the nerve endings of a living creature, and so it felt no pain. This only fueled Millie's rage even more. She went to the local building site and stole a sledgehammer. Swinging the hammer high, she let out an ear-splitting shriek and struck the slab again and again. At first, her blows seemed to do nothing, but eventually a crack started to form, and widen. She cackled madly as the pavement broke to pieces, not paying attention to the growing crowd of onlookers, or the fact that the crack had spread to beneath her own feet. Then suddenly, with a final blow, the road split open and Millie tumbled into the dark hole below her. "Help me! Help me!" she cried to the townspeople. "One of you idiots get me out!" But the townspeople heard nothing, or at least pretended to. When Millie didn't turn up at school, her teachers didn't question it. And her own parents paid for the sinkhole to be filled in with several layers of fresh cement. Wow! To this day, Millie is officially still a missing person. But some people say you can still hear her muffled ravings coming through the cracks in the pavement. Don't you love a story with a good moral? That is quite the morbid moral. Tell me another one. No, I'm too tired today. Come back tomorrow and I'll have a fresh one. I cannot promise that I'll be getting all of the morbid tales. But let's go ahead and get some reconnaissance. Do you do autopsy here? Of course, specialty of mine, who's a lucky stiff. We've had that conversation before. Is that enough to get permission to do that? Get the body out of here. Yes. Okay, so we do have to go to the morgue first. Which means I am going to want to reload an earlier save and head into the morgue after saving Mitruziek's life. However, before I do that, I do still need to figure out how this is going to work. Taken to the hospital? I've got connections there. Immediately, sir. I want to make sure that I can fulfill all the investigative needs by sending Officer Beeglor to the hospital. Do we talk to Septeenth first? How may I help you today? What did you learn from Dex's body? Ah, patience, my still fresh friend. Like any art, an autopsy takes time. I'm still seeing what stories his decaying form wishes to release. I wonder how long that's going to take. Well, I think to pass the time, we're gonna also sleep. We have the option of getting some bed rest in the public area. We'll just sleep for 4 hours. Oh gosh, sleep until morning is an option, but it was already after morning. So that would have been a way to skip an entire day right then and there. We would have been pretty hungry when we woke up. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and eat a little bit more food. Because we'll be passing a lot of time here, possibly. Not yet, so I'll sleep some more. Although, what happens if we open the doors? I would please ask you not to disturb my guests. They've been through quite a lot recently, you understand. Especially Beeglor. What I'm hoping to find out is if I can get, for example, get a blood sample, and also find out the contents of his stomach. Oh, here we go. Alright, so between 7 o'clock and now was when he was finished doing his thing. So, I'm guessing it takes 24 hours in order for him to figure out his thing. I would say doing the autopsy ourselves would be faster, but at the same time, having Dr. Cedric do it would allow us to do other things while he's figuring out the stuff for himself. The question is, what is he going to figure out? Oh yes, a most satisfying work, your friend Dex Beeglor. He had much to say. Firstly, his exterior was covered in strange injuries, like he was crushed. It is my opinion that they were inflicted by a wheeled vehicle. Not many of those around the city since the invention of hover pads. I was wondering about that. His skull was cracked, but this, along with the other injuries, happened post-mortem. Yep, this is so far information we could learn ourselves. So he was already dead before he was crushed. No, his cause of death was far more subtle. A sudden brain hemorrhage, unusual at his age. And that is unfortunately all that I could learn, given his state of decay on arrival. Perhaps you should have brought him to me when he was more fresh. I'm gonna have to start the entire game over. Well, good news is, we know that sending Dex's body here makes us friends with Dr. Cedric. I had a feeling that if we waited too long to examine Dex's body, it would start rotting away. But at the same time, I was hoping not. Oh my gosh. What am I gonna have to do? First off, I don't think I can solve this case unless I start over. Because I need that information about the contents of his stomach. But the first day was so tight with all the things that I was trying to do. And to save time, I didn't go to the crime scene. But I'm probably gonna have to do that on day 1. Oh no! All the stuff I'm gonna have to redo. I'm gonna have to figure out everything all over again and try to figure out what it is that I've done so far. Need to try to remember what was important. Unless there's a chance that if I send Beeglor's body... When was my last save? Already on day 3. Can I do it myself? let's try this autopsy. Maybe if I don't waste time trying to send his body to the hospital, I'll be just in time to examine his stomach. Dex's body is relatively well preserved. Hopefully this won't be too hard. Focus on torso. I'll just make the primary incision and clean as a whistle. Examine stomach. Stomach still contains his last meal. Coffee and donuts, and it hasn't been digested. He ate these just before he died. Examine his head. Because it was the brain hemorrhage that was an issue. Need to cut here and... Success! I really missed out on being the thing. Examine brain. What's this? Brain shows signs of a sudden hemorrhage. Something like this would have been fatal. And I was button mashing. What did I examine? Oh, the tire tracks. Let's take the blood sample. Well, so far, doing this myself, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Let's do the science here. Use a chemical analyzer. Analyze the space fish venom. Compare it with... Compare it with the coffee cup. I've analyzed the coffee cup. Now I need to compare it to other things. Interesting. There are traces of space fish venom in this coffee cup. Huzzah! I don't have to restart this adventure. I have not failed. Oh, I'm so relieved.